Welcome to Satsang from Arunachala. I am coming to you from my spiritual home, a place that is very significant for me, a place that is that has been very transformative for so many people, so many seekers of enlightenment, so many wanting to find the truth. And I am honored to offer this satsang from here. So here we have Ramana Maharshi. Those of you who don't know him, he is the root guru of one of my lineages. Root guru of the lineage of Shanti, who was my guru earlier. With whom I studied Advaita Vedanta, or self-inquiry, as Ramana taught it, but every expression of it is different. My guru taught it slightly differently. A guru is somebody who offers the path in whatever way is required for that particular student. Sometimes the paths are very standardized, like my second guru. Most of the structures are helpful for most people. And there is also customized advice for each person. So I'm talking about these two gurus. You might be confused. But there is no need to be confused. Because I'm bringing, in a way, the two paths, whatever worked for me in each of these paths together. And offering it to create a hybrid path, because I see it is very powerful, having gone through both of them together, both of them being so powerful, both of them having helped hundreds of people. It is relevant to bring them together. So today the format will be a little bit different. The format will be more compatible with if somebody wants to come and ask a question here. We have another chair here. People can come and ask a question. I call it the hot seat. And the structure that comes out of that naturally is similar to what we have done earlier, questions and answers. To begin with, we will go into a guided meditation. And then we will move to questions and answers as always. The energy here being very special, very powerful, sometimes intense. I invite you to bring your best attention to feel your energy, feel the energy that I am transmitting to you from here. I'm not able to see all your charts because the laptop is a little far away from me because of the different setup. But if you have a question, Ching can read it out to me later. Or if there is any problems with the audio or something, please put it in the chat and we can address that. Maybe change the levels when needed. Yeah, you can mute that, yes. Okay. Wonderful. Let's go into the guided meditation now. Let us begin with a few deep breaths. With each breath, relax and let go. With each breath, turn inward. With each deep breath, become more and more present in your body, paying complete attention to what is happening right now. There is nothing to figure out, nothing to understand in this moment, nothing to plan, nothing to fear, nothing to grasp. Simply be. Simply be. your heart space. In your core, looking inward. Forget about everything that is external to you. Forget about all that has happened during the day. Forget about what might happen in the future. And come back again and again to the present moment. Even if your mind pulls you here, pulls you there. Simply let go of whatever is pulling you, whatever is taking your attention here and there. Let it go. Don't engage with any stories, each thought, each fear, each desire, anything that wants your attention is simply a story. That story involves many different things. Usually, I like this. I like what Ra is saying. I don't like what Ra is saying. I think that's true. Oh, I have to go somewhere later. Oh, I'm sleepy. It's a little story which assumes a lot of different things. Mainly assumes your identity. The root story of it all is the story of I. Always running in the background, always leading to new stories coming up all the time, comparing somebody to yourself, relating somebody to yourself. The idea of the self, the false self. So whenever you see a story come up, stop for a moment. Don't let it bother you. Don't let anything bother you at all. Simply let it come, let it go. No matter what the story says in your mind, for this moment, even if it sounds true or it sounds false, don't engage with it. Don't let anything take your attention away from just focusing within, just looking into your heart, and coming back again and again to the present moment. One more deep breath. Every time you take a breath, you make a reset. Every time you take another deep breath, once again, let it all go. Once again, whatever you're holding on to, notice it and disengage from it. No matter what kind of crazy story comes, as long as you don't engage with it, it's alright. It doesn't have any effect on you at all. Always come back to the present moment, again and again. All our suffering is based on stories. Every idea which says, oh, this is painful, every interpretation which makes you suffer is based on a story about yourself, about your situation, about your life, about people, about anything that you're concerned about. It's a story. If you are completely in the present moment, completely here, focused only on this moment, there cannot be a story at all. There is only pure perception of what is right now. You are completely here, enjoying this, what is here, the beauty of this, the beauty of this moment. That is true beauty. Anything from the past is just a memory. Memories can be beautiful, but nothing can compare to experiencing something in the present moment. So again and again, one more deep breath. Come back to the present moment. As you go deeper and deeper into your heart, into the core of your being, when you're present, you start perceiving the beauty of the inner world more and more. You start perceiving so much more. So much light, so much peace. When we are focused on something on the external, even a thought, a story, it grabs our focus. It simply makes everything else disappear. And when you let go of that thought, when you let go of that story, your awareness is free again. Free again to perceive more. Free again to be open. Free again to be left alone in peace. Another deep breath. Let it all go. Let it all go once again. When you let the surface go, then you can go deeper. When you can let a thought which is just floating on the surface of the mind, on the surface of your awareness, when you let it go, then you have the freedom to dive deeper into the core of your being. Mm. 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 Take this opportunity to again notice if you are holding on to anything at all, even something very subtle, maybe an expectation, maybe some small anxiety, maybe a small frustration, something in the back of your mind. Again, let it go. Mm. 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 Every time you breathe, make it a habit. Mm. Am I holding on to something? Am I being captured by a story? Let it go. Mm. Mm. And as you let go, notice Hmm. Just give us a moment. We will fix the audio. Hmm. 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 Ah. Can you all hear me better now? I think we have to change this. So, okay, okay, okay. Hmm. 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 Reduce the levels a little bit. It's too much input. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Hmm. 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 Pardon the interruptions, but no interruption can really interrupt your peace. All these interruptions are just like the interruptions that your thoughts cause. They are only on the surface. They cannot reach into your depth. Mm. 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 So, once again, let the interruption go. Whatever happened, happened. Once again, come back to the present moment. Once again, let it go. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Every time you let it go, every time you come back to the present, you will see a complete difference in how you feel. Hmm. Focusing on a thought, a story, makes you feel small. Hmm. Hmm. Makes you feel separate, makes you feel that there is something missing. Because in fact it is. Just from the point of view of that story, everything else is missing. That perspective makes everything feel disjointed in a way. So let it all go, whatever makes you feel separate. Let all these stories come and go. Come back, again and again. Come back. Hmm. 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 And dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the present moment. The depth is endless. Every story that you might hold on to, it's very flimsy. There is not much. It's very shallow. The depth of your heart is like the ocean. Mm. There is always more to discover. Mm. 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 There is so much that you cannot find the bottom. Mm. 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 So let go of the surface. Mm. And go deeper within. Mm. Mm. Hello. Mm. 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 Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. So, we will conclude this guided meditation. Mm. But as we conclude, don't forget the depth. Don't forget. Mm.
Very soft.
Yes. Mm. Don't let go of the depth, even as we engage with concepts, even as we talk about stories, ideas. There is so much more depth being offered at the same time. Mm. 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 Feel the energy that is behind the words. That is where you will find the depth. Mm. 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 Slowly let us bring our awareness to a place where we can be conscious of this depth as we engage with the outside world. Mm. Mm. Slowly open your eyes whenever you're ready. Mm. We have a few people joining us online, the people who I regularly work with, most of them from USA. We have a couple of people from India and one from Israel. Yeah. And we have a couple of people joining us here in person as well. Welcome to Satsang. Today is the first day we are offering this in person, even though for a couple of days we have been doing it online since the place wasn't ready. This all happened quite spontaneously. There was no real plan to offer it in person. But whenever you come to Thiru, the plans don't really stay. Arunachala demands of you sometimes to follow the dharma of the moment, follow the truth of the moment. Testing. I apologize for the setup. We are still fine-tuning it. Yeah, it seems to be working. Randomly, okay. There is a certain randomness to technology. When the energy is high, things start breaking down sometimes. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you for coming. If you have a question, if you have something to share, even, you're very welcome to come to the hot seat. It's not too hot, I promise.
No, I just remember now I've met you.
Yes.
Your mother also.
Yes. My mother is here online watching. And yes, I used to come here. I used to live here in Thiruvannamalai.
Yeah, that house behind
Mm.
Yogiram Ashram.
Yes.
She made the dishes.
Yes.
Very nice food she said.
Yes, you visited our home here.
Us, me and
Mhm. Would you like to come say hi? My mother will see you too if you come here. Mm.
I just don't remember what she cooked that time, but it was delicious.
Mm. Could you remind me of your name
Yes,
again?
my name is Shraddha.
Shraddha, yes.
Yeah.
Such
And
a beautiful
that time
name.
we used to know you as Shakti.
Yes, Shakti
Yeah.
was a name given to me.
Yeah.
Can you zoom out a little bit? Yes, thank you. And my spiritual teacher, he gave me the name Ra.
And what does it mean?
Ra is in the Egyptian pantheon, the
Yeah.
sun, the sun god. And giving a spiritual name when the student is ready is a way to bless them with even further transformation. And this name, taking this name, absorbing this name, brought about such a powerful transformation in me as well. So that's why I prefer to use this name while I'm teaching, etc., because it comes from my guru.
And I forgot your guru, even though we spoke about.
Yes. When I first came here about 4 or 5 years ago, I met my first guru. His name was Shanti.
Ah, yes.
Yes. And he's in the...
Shanti Mark Kopikar.
Yes.
That one, yes.
And he's a student of Gangaji, who was a student of Papaji, who was a student of Ramana. You know this, but I'm also mentioning this because there are my regular students who or listeners who probably don't know about the lineage so much. And then after I had been with Shanti for a few years and went through a lot of realizations and breakthrough moments with him, and I felt I should just stay here in the energy of the mountain, because the mountain, Arunachala itself, was teaching me, was helping me integrate what I had seen. And that's why I lived here. But there came a time that it was ripe for me to transform even more, learn more things, learn the other structures that would help me. And I was sitting in at a restaurant here called the Dreaming Tree, which is very famous here. Everybody goes to the Dreaming Tree.
That's the most happening place here.
Yes, I used to just sit there talking to people, eating. And I had this particular feeling that today something is ending and something new is beginning. And it was something major, something significant. And that's when my second guru walked
In Dreaming Tree.
in the dreaming tree, and he's a Buddhist teacher who brings together not just traditional Buddhism but also aspects of Hinduism and whatever works. His way is bring what works and what is practical. His path is much more structured. As you might have known, Shanti's path was very like in the moment, self-inquiry, looking inward.
That's Advaita.
Advaita, like
Yeah.
in the lineage. But in the Buddhist tradition, it's not really the traditional Buddhism, but as my second teacher taught it, it was much more step-by-step structures. It was very self-development and all that.
Who is that teacher?
His name is Ajahn, and
Yes.
he lives in the USA.
Right.
And after that, after meeting him, I studied with him in USA for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was missing from here. Otherwise, this is my home. This is the place I
Right.
love to be.
I thought you went back to be with Mark, Shanti.
Yes.
I thought you were in Germany probably.
Yes, I did visit Germany.
Hmm.
I was with him for a while until there was a slow transition from handing this student over from one guru to another guru.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So
It happens like that? You didn't abandon him? Like
it's I can't say abandon him because
No,
I
just
love
joking.
him.
Yes.
Still, there is
Yeah.
a deep respect for him.
Of course, yeah.
But I studied completely with my second teacher and had to focus on that path for a while.
Interesting, yeah. I've never sat with him, Ajahn. I know he was here, but he just missed it somehow. Yeah. Okay, so maybe.
And so my mother is there. She's not seen, but I'm sure she's happy to see you.
Shanti? No.
Jyoti.
Oh, yeah.
Jyoti. Yes.
Can she see me, you think?
Yes.
Hello,
she
Ma.
can.
I still remember your food and sitting on the kitchen floor with all of us cross-legged and eating the perfectly Indian, delicious, different kind of food. It was so beautiful. I still remember that moment. It all came back to me, just like when I realized it's you. And I was, just sitting there was so nice. That house, I remember, I'd never seen that house before from inside, and then I got to have a tour. So that was old but interesting. Yeah. Nice.
So great to see you, Shraddha.
Yeah, nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Okay, just put it down. The importance of the guru on the path is cannot say enough about it. Whether it's a guru in the physical form who can talk to you and correct you and guide you in the right path, or the guru in the form of Arunachala here, or in the form of Ramana Maharshi, whom if you go to the meditation center here, the meditation hall, and sit down in front of Ramana's picture there, you can feel him teaching. You can communicate with him as if he's right there in person. And I've had so many moments of realization sitting there in front of him showing me something which cannot be even put into words. So it's even better than talking to somebody just in words. Hmm. 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 And just being here in the energy of Arunachala, somehow you are guided to the right place. Somehow the right connections happen. Somehow you will cross paths with whatever is needed for you in that moment. All you need is the right intention in your heart. All you need is a desire to see the truth. You may call it enlightenment, you may call it God, you may call it so many different words, but these words point to the same direction. The true self. The true self within all our hearts. Without separation, without any duality. Just the beautiful oneness that can be experienced as the sanctuary of peace at the core of our being. I welcome any questions, even from online. If you have any questions, you can type it into the chat. If something comes up, I will notice it, and Ching can read it out to me. Those of you online, if you ever get a chance to come visit Thiruvannamalai, consider that a very precious opportunity to come meet Ramana, to come meet Arunachala. Would you read it out, please?
Okay. So M says, I'm just so grateful to be connected with you and Arunachala right now. Heart.
Mahyar, thank you. I think you also have some connection to the lineage of Ramana, if I remember correctly. If you'd like to talk, you're very welcome. We can unmute you. Can you do that, please? Increase the volume, please. Hello, Mahyar. Maybe you can put the mic on the speaker there. So, yes. Okay.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing, Mahyar?
I'm doing well. I'm just so grateful, and it's just so interesting. I've been thinking about Arunachala so much lately, and then I saw that you were there tonight or today morning for you, and it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just grateful.
Wonderful. Yes, I remember when we discussed this a few years ago that you have this connection that made me feel that warmth in my heart that I feel when I'm at Arunachala.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my teacher of many years, who no longer teaches, was a Yudhishthira, was a disciple of Papaji. And I don't know, there's just been a remembering more recently. And just thinking about when I got to visit there for just a short time, like a while ago, but remembering the peacefulness and the presence and the grounding like nowhere else in the world that I've at least experienced.
Yes, yes. All these 3 years when I was in USA, I have always wanted to come back to feel Arunachala again. Yeah, it's such a special place. And since we have been doing these satsangs from here, we're doing just online, as I mentioned, people have felt that energy. I'm kind of being a channel for that to flow through from here, transmitting that energy to wherever people are attending to. So it's so great to be here.
It makes me wonder where you are exactly. Not that I would know necessarily exactly, but
yes.
Are you even just inside or outside?
This is the place where my guru held satsangs, my first guru Shanti, and this is called the Mountain Retreat Center. And actually this is the place where I had my first samadhi experience as well. So this is for me a very significant place. And it's in a beautiful, like a resort. So much greenery around, a beautiful swimming pool, very quiet compared to the town outside.
Lovely to see you from there.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Looks like we have another question or so. If you have questions, you can post them in the chat or you can raise your hand. We will give preference to people who are here if they have questions, of course, because I will meet you online anytime, every week. So, if anybody here has questions, you can just walk here, and once we are done there, we can. Oh yeah, no pressure. Namaste.
Namaste. So I don't know if it's questions yet, more just hearing what you're saying about coming here and adding my own input. Perhaps it will turn into a question, I don't know.
Yes, please. That would be great.
I've been coming to Tiru for 15 years or so, maybe 10 to 15 times. It keeps calling me back. I have at first it was a complete love relationship. Over time it's become a little more complicated than that.
As it happens.
Yeah. Because, but this time very welcome, because I was just in Portugal for 4 months, and I feel after the pandemic, well, I'll just give you my input. I was very deeply into my spiritual path for a long time, a few decades, I would say, and just over the last decade, it's kind of dissolved in a way. It feels like the world has somehow, for better or worse, called me back into taking it seriously. Yeah, partly for us, I would say from a positive angle, because I wanted to contribute in some way, because I felt the intensity of its need. Whether or not it was very interested in my contribution is another thing, but I gave it in my own terms regardless. And that's meant that I've absorbed a lot more of what feels like the suffering of the world. Maybe as a Buddhist you understand that. I was a Tibetan Buddhist for the last 30 years. So I think after a certain point, again, if I look at it in terms of ways that make sense to me, I unavoidably began to absorb the pain of the collective, you might say. And wherever I go, it feels that I switch into that. So coming back to Tiru this time was like Portugal felt so uncomfortable to me. Like the last 2 years I felt this extraordinary anxiety building in the collective. And I understood that when I was kind of locked up during the COVID times on my own in a foreign country where I didn't speak the language, I didn't know anyone, and so that was difficult after a few months, which surprised me because I've done hundreds of meditation retreats, for a week. I can not speak to people for long periods of time.
Yes.
But with the surrounding anxiety of the whole world about what was going on, there was such an uncomfortable sense.
Yes.
And then strangely, even as the world's opened up, I feel the same thing this year in Portugal. And that surprised me a lot. Everybody was out, but there was still this underlying kind of discomfort and uncertainty in the ground level of energy.
Yes, once that happened, something changed longer term.
Yeah. And I suppose the beauty of Tiru is, for me, it's almost the other direction. Like some people come here and they get active. Most people get slow, and it is a unique energy. I've known that. I've traveled 40 countries. I've lived in 5. There's nothing like right here, almost to the point of, like, I almost resent it sometimes because I literally become dysfunctional. Sometimes I can't pull myself out of bed or make a cup of tea even, and part of me goes, it's so forceful in its relaxation, to me at least, or brings out some kind of tamas. But this time it was a very welcome relief because I needed that after this couple of months. I had to get out. And hitting here, it's just like hitting a wall. I've been I hadn't had 10 hours sleep in 6 months, and I've just been sleeping half the day for the last week since I arrived, and feeling that beautiful if you can surrender to it, that intense calmness that's here, gradually resolving these things.
Yes. Thiru has this way of those who are always active, they come here, makes them stop. And those who are kind of listening, kind of more dormant, shows them the other side. It kind of, it's for me, has shown me that there is another side that I don't normally access. It just brings it up. So it feels very Thiru-like. But you can't really conceptualize that, right?
No, I mean, Shraddha sees in me, like it's like a, I wouldn't say that I'm some kind of person who doesn't know his core, but it's really like a completely different side of myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know if more and more I've switched into that. Like when she hears how I'm being in Portugal, it's completely different. Completely different. I'm here. What's next? What's next? What do I do next? I go here. I'm on a bus. I'm on a train. I'm going there. Let's go look at this castle. Blah, 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 blah. Non-stop. Let's sort the visa out. 10 p.m. I'm the exact opposite here. It's just a different part of me, and almost unavoidably, it's like I'm in its. I don't know if that's an aspect of. Some people with the idea of spiritual mastery would think it would be the opposite, that after a long time you would take control of these things. But I feel sometimes spirituality is a very paradoxical thing. It's ends up being quite opposite of what you think it's going to be. And your surrender is just to allow yourself to be buffeted by whatever is required of you in the moment, not knowing what its purpose necessarily is.
Yes, letting go, letting go, letting go. Yes.
So I'm curious, the Ajahn fellow, this was Theravadan Buddhism, because as I say, Buddhism was I met Buddhism myself before Advaita, a long time ago, and the various schools, Theravadan to start with, long meditation, and then after that Tibetan I was very much, I loved too.
It's based on Vajrayana, but a spiritual teacher who brings that and makes it relevant for his students, like him, it's just you can't really put his teachings into a box, and every time we conceptualize it, he changes it. So he has brought together so many different things. We do karma yoga, we do bodhicitta from Buddhism. So it's like whatever is relevant and works. And just before COVID started, we were doing a lot of bodhicitta, and it was very helpful. So a lot of us imagine too, we'll go into a retreat. We are monks, so we can go through this isolation period quite easily, but in the same way that you said, it was an opportunity for compassion. And it was transformative for many as well.
Bodhicitta is extraordinary. I practiced. I do. I can't let go of that. But it's interesting. I mean, all the issues within spirituality of practice, non-practice, doing, non-doing. Many of them are false dichotomies when it comes down to it.
Yes.
But one thing I notice with bodhicitta is in this world, because Buddhist Tantra to me is the essence of what New Age was built out of, that creative capacity to... You can certainly alter your inner environment with bodhicitta. There's nothing more powerful than full compassion. But at the same time, there's this... I don't know if you find this. There's always a residual part of the ego self. This is my understanding anyway. I think a lot of people pretend that there's this black and white full transformation is possible. For me, it's been this very slow process of integration. And bodhicitta is so pure and beautiful that the German word Weltschmerz comes to mind. I find quite often the pain of the world hurts even more because you look at it and it's just like, really, when is this going to change? And the ego can't help but stepping in and going, really? I have to keep suffering? It's just, you're just going to keep doing this? And I'm still not going to understand what we are. I mean, ultimately, we have a sense of what this is, but we know that in the end we don't really know what we are, what this is, where it's going. It's enforced surrender, but at the same time there's this idealism that's so pure that hurts. It's like being making yourself a child again. You know, it's almost like that's why people avoid it. They avoid the truth because they know it's going to hurt to be pure in an impure, what appears to be an impure world. How do you feel about that?
That's why Buddha said one of the essential truths is suffering. So that when the ego accepts that there is pain and suffering in the world, that acceptance itself, in a way, stops that resistance to what is.
Yeah, I've been training in that acceptance for 30 years and it's still not complete.
Yes.
It's I would go to some teachers and they would say, oh, well, like Muji, maybe for a few months, maybe, it might be difficult, the winds may blow. It's like, dude, a few decades. That's been my experience anyway. I practice it and I have a genuine transformation again and again and again, and you can't give up on it.
Yeah.
And then you begin to see the beauty of the fact that nothing's as simple as people say it is, but at the same time, the harder it is, it's that's perverse, what I call perverse spiritual logic, from the point of the ego, but in reality it may just be the way it is, that you have to... Like the harder it is, the truer it is, because you really think you're going to get away with it easy? That's the ego. That's the ego's delusion. It thinks, oh yeah, it'll happen on Tuesday.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
At the same time, accept what you said, but at the same time, it's so simple and easy too, simultaneously, because the truth is available to us every moment. Right here, right now, you can access it. Right here, right now, you can take refuge in that. And at the same time can exist for the ego some sort of suffering, some sort of complications. But that's for the ego. That can exist on the surface, while in your depth you can enjoy that peace. You can have that peaceful inner tranquility while the ego is crying. I've experienced this so many times. Sometimes when the suffering is more, it activates and becomes more apparent, as a compassionate way that life says, you don't need to suffer this much. That I've cried my heart out and then suddenly seen that this whole time everything was okay. Everything has been perfect.
Yeah. For me, strangely, and I know many people would say this means that I'd gone wrong, but one has to stand behind oneself, knowing that one's done their best. Because as I say, for me, for a long, long time, this was all very, very easy. My whole life was about it. And I almost see now part of that same motor of not having control is almost like my capacity was reduced. And it's so strange because I know it so well. But for whatever reason, maybe I started to take the world too literal or so forth. It's not as available to me as it was before. It's almost like I'm incapacitated with things that I knew so well, and I'd practiced 1,000 times. And I was completely interested in every moment of every day, and every meditation worked. And now it's like I have to live with it not working, and I'm not capable. And the only sense I can make of that is that it's another form of surrender, that the surrender to incapacity. And even a sense of unfairness. It's, look, I actually developed this capacity, and who's taken it from me? Did I lose it?
Yes, there comes a period like this after life showers upon you beautiful experiences, samadhis, and opens your eyes for glimpses of the truth, and then takes it away from you. And it only does that so that you can prepare for it, to receive it. Once it was given as a gift, it gives you a sample.
Yes.
Taste it, and you're like, okay, this is what I want.
You're hooked.
You decide. You're like, all right, I'm ready. Okay, I want it. And then it takes it away so that you can earn it.
In a completely different way.
Yes.
It's like beginner's luck. I had a lot of beginner's luck. It's just like
yes.
that.
And then to earn it, you need to earn humility. Because once you get it as a sample, the ego takes it and says, I achieved something. I went into samadhi. I had this beautiful experience. It's mine.
Or I have control. I have not necessarily a big ego trip. It's just you just think you have control.
Even it can be very simple too.
You got it down. That's all.
Yeah. Or it could even be the opposite. Oh, I had it and lost it. Even that's ego. Even saying I'm not worthy of it is ego. In a way,
or I'm confused about how this works. Or there's hundreds of layers of ego.
Yes. So whether you say I am very successful or whether you say I'm not worthy, it's a misconception of the ego. And humility is seeing yourself as you are. And
it's not, even when that's not as pretty as you thought it was.
That's
life, isn't it? You get old, you get ugly, you get...
in a way,
it's all the same thing.
It's not even a concept of who you are. It's just openness. Humility is pure openness, receptivity. And then it can really enter you. And it can stay. And
you don't know if it's going to stay. You don't know.
In a way, it's always been there. It's only revealed because you have humility. So we just say it enters you, but without that having been there, nothing could have existed at all.
What's confusing about it is that one thinks like the clarity of what I used to think, for instance, even humility was. Has a certain feeling tone to it. But this kind of humility, it's almost like, and this was my experience, there was a point at which everything went beyond my control. I can't do humility. I can't do any of this.
Yes.
And then everything, like that first taste in which I was involved, becomes completely irrelevant.
Yes, it's really funny how the ego takes humility and makes it its thing.
And has this beautiful feeling around it and all this stuff.
It's like, I'm so humble. I'm like the humblest person in the world. It can say, the ego can make it a story and make that itself a block.
Yeah.
So
not that you shouldn't do that. I think it's almost like
all part of the process.
And
there's nobody to blame.
You have to learn the feeling tone. It's, as you say, it's like a gift. At first, it's just so simple. It just drops it in your lap.
Yes, and I'm saying this because I have experienced it in myself. I have done all that. I have gone through, I'm so humble, whatever, and I'm so spiritual, and I'm so whatever. It's like I am this, I am that, I am this, adding more layers of concepts on top of the truth.
Beautiful, the most beautiful. Like when you say that, I don't think I I didn't feel that I turned it into an ego trip. I sometimes think like this really happened to me because I actually didn't. But it's still beyond that. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, look at me, I'm gonna, you know. It was quite quiet and personal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was just like a free gift, and it just like this has got nothing to do. This is going to do what it wants. Like there's another level of humility where like even the vestiges of my ego and who I think I am, like all that, it's just not. None of that's relevant, not even close to relevant, like who I think I am.
Yeah.
And I that's the really difficult thing when it's got like, I don't have it. It's not just saying, it's like I really don't have any control at this point. It's not a pretense in any sense. It's just, it's not pleasant in the slightest, actually. Then when they say like the ego, your ego isn't going to like it. When I first heard that years ago, people, I said, oh, that sounds romantic. It's not. It's not romantic at all. It's the last thing an ego would want. It's to lose complete control of oneself.
So, yeah.
And over this thing that you had great passion for.
So, Ramana's teaching, he says, either inquire within and find out who you are, or surrender. Either of them works. And if you do both of them together, try to do both of them together, that even also can work as well. And that's what I tried to do, because I didn't know what would succeed. I'm like, let's try to do both of them, because I'm here and this is what I want. Let's give it my best shot. And I tried to surrender, I tried really hard to surrender.
It's the starting point, yeah.
Yeah, that's how you start. But you have the right intention and you give it your, energy in the same way you have known how to do things. You try to do it. And that's perfect.
It's completely inevitable. It's the first step. It's what. So no one should ever look. Many times people seem to look down on that. It's the natural first step.
Yes.
Ego is going to try and get this.
Yes.
Step one gone.
Yes.
What's
I'm
next?
going to do the program. I'm going to achieve it or whatever. And then you realize you cannot really surrender as an action. You cannot do it. You can only realize that surrender is the truth and control is an illusion.
Yeah, I think again, to be generous to people, you naturally learn something from that. You get an inkling. You get a big. It's like you're looking for. There's a little thread, and you get a big kind of thing, and then in the end, that knowledge of surrender, you might keep looking for it, but it's much subtler than that much subtler than that in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it happens. Then it naturally comes to that flow where you see that this is the truth. And naturally the tendencies of the ego which are not aligned with it slowly reform themselves or fall away. Such a beautiful process. All the ups and downs, all the complexities, intricacies. Perfect all along in its imperfection.
It is, the forgetting is the most difficult time though, I've been finding. Very strange. It's a very difficult thing to get you. Like I've been experiencing more pain than, like increasingly more pain, I would say. At first it was like more difficult things started happening in my life, and then I lost my capacity to even... And so it's like I am a child again, making all the same mistakes that I made before I knew anything about spirituality. Because something in me said, I can't keep these techniques. I don't know why. As I say, some could say that it's a wrong path, or... And sometimes I look and I think, wow, why am I Like for 20 years, I would have, my most pleasurable time of every day was to meditate. Now I barely meditate at all. It's like I've forgotten who I developed, you know. Even my best coping strategies wiped away.
Yeah.
Almost completely. So yeah, sometimes it's beautiful and you see through the beauty of the intensity of it, but for most people they would think that's really perverse, as I say.
Yeah. So what life does is, as soon as we keep holding on to something, saying that this works, and I've figured out a way, and this is the truth, it lets you have your grace period so that the ego can build itself up and say, I'm not saying it's dramatically building itself up, and just saying that, oh, I know what I'm doing, this is working. And then as soon as you form it into a thing, life shows that that's not the complete truth.
Seems to be.
That is one perspective of the truth. And then you will try to find another perspective because this stopped. Let me find another technique that works. Another technique that works. And it goes on for a while that you find new teachers, new techniques, new approaches to find the truth or find the peace within. But really, in the end, it comes back to the direct experience of it, without any intermediary. Then you realize it's always there all the time, and you don't need to do anything to go there. In fact, it's the doing that is creating an illusion of it going away.
Well, again, in my involvement in the world, I'm feeling that perhaps it's just my excuse. The world is making louder noise. To me, that's what's happening right now. It's coming into us, and it's making more demands upon us. It's being much more intrusive than it used to be. And perhaps some people didn't, it's a big issue, because even during the pandemic, I was one of the people saying, okay, time for sitting staring at your navel is over. The world needs you. But I knew that people would be reluctant to do that because it's a risk. I mean, even in the Advaita's test, it's like one thought can immerse you in sorrow. That's true. It's true. The second you believe anything, and that used to be very clear to me. But I allowed it to come in, and then I see now, every time I apply for a visa or want to fly to another country, everything's more difficult. It's like samsara is just right in your face saying, we're going to make this hard for you. So how are you going to respond to that? You're not going to be able to hide from us. You're going to have to integrate very fast, or else we're going to annoy the hell out of you until you do one thing or the other. That's how it feels. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So we're really being pushed, it seems. And
life gives help when it is the right time for you to grow. Whether you think you're ready or not, life knows when to give that push. And it's always a gift, even though it's harder in the beginning to integrate that gift. I say life gives so thoughtfully and beautifully, but the gift wrapping is shit.
It is, because by any metric, if I sit now, like in the old days, I every time I meditate, I would process what was there. Or every time.
Yeah.
Now it's like there's so much junk sitting in my me. That's how it feels. There's a lot of unresolved stuff. And of course the paradox is like, well, my expectation is to resolve it. And yet sometimes I just have to sit with it and just go, bunch of unresolvable stuff.
Yeah.
Not going to get anywhere with it. It's just going to keep sitting there. That's extraordinary. I mean, where's your spiritual ego if you can't even resolve your stuff, and you have to live with this bag of junk inside your own psyche.
And also, this is the part where you see that you can face anything. It's a warrior aspect
without even necessarily succeeding with it.
Yeah,
like your success is to just simply.
Yeah, success is
it's the opposite.
In a way, it doesn't matter. In a way, but the facing of things.
Yeah.
Which is really stopping the running away from things, stopping the blocking of things away.
Which is
that
where
we do in
pure Vipassana is probably the best training, right, if anything.
Oh, I didn't do any Vipassana, but...
well, Theravada, like in the sense of just being able to just sit, observe.
Yes, observing
That's
it.
Just
in a way, being okay with it.
Yeah. And not just in the head, like every churned up emotion, ugly sensation. Yeah, not turning it necessarily constantly into some kind of thing out there.
Yes. One of the things I really learned from the path that Ajahn offered me is the warrior aspect. We actually learn martial arts as well. And we practice that as we do what we call job yoga.
Yoga?
Yeah. You make your, whatever you do for work, your practice. And when we do something like computer programming, etc., we face problems. We face tickets which we need to solve, which are so complicated and the requirements are completely unclear, and you just have to figure it out. And it's like going to war in a way.
Yeah. Oh, the war's the easy bit though. Yeah. It's what happens inside you.
Yes.
The churn that happens in your own psyche.
Yes.
That's the bigger problem.
All your fear comes up as if it's like fear of death, primal fear of death. And you're sitting in front of your computer alone in your room. Right? And there's some code in front of you which is making you bring up these, feelings in a safe space in a way. And you can learn to face that. Again and again, you learn to face it, and then again the ego comes and says, no. Another situation.
What is the meaning of that activity, right? Because it's easy to conquer like a warrior. I travel, for instance, and it's like there's that feeling of like, I can get anywhere, I can get through any problem, but it's the residual, like, why am I even here and doing this? Is this mathematical problem really worth what I'm putting into it?
Yes, really, the dream that comes to make these experiences happen, that's secondary in a way. It's really a dream.
And that's the Tiru effect in some ways, because this even takes away my capacity to even care in a nice way, And it's like everything, it's a double-edged sword. At one moment it's like, oh, it's so relaxing. Another sense it's like, I kind of liked having capacity, I kind of like being able to make myself a cup of tea, or feel that the ego loves to feel even the most basic sense of power, and this place can strip you of that.
Yeah.
I was anxious in Portugal, but at the same time, very capable as a person, constantly conquering one thing after another. Here I can barely get out of bed. Anyway, sorry, is that no?
Oh, no. I just wanted to read. There are a bunch of comments.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes they say the audio is off or something, and we
have to get that. Tell that guy to get out.
So
stop listening to that bastard.
No, we're looks like everybody's really enjoying the conversation.
Oh, okay, good.
I see some hearts and everything. So. So we're really happy to have you on the hot seat.
It's very hot.
Yeah, someone's saying, I am really appreciating the dialogue and can relate so much to parts. So helpful to hear. There's some questions too. I don't know if we want to read those.
Yeah,
now.
we can come back to the questions
Okay.
after this.
Catherine Wilson says, "Thank you, Ra. I had a beautiful experience. The clarity on some decisions I am working on are further clarified." Swasti shares, "I am Ra's student only couple of months. He gave me brand new life, constant happiness, emotional stability, feeling grounded, protected, frequent ecstasy with universal love, and he does it for me in a super easy way. Please send special thanks to Ra's mom and my very best wishes."
Did you hear that, Mom? Special thanks to you.
And then Akhil says, "Hi Ra, this is Akhil from Hyderabad. Hope you remember. Grateful for the session. Thank you."
Okay, we will come back to the questions once we conclude here. if there is anything more you wanted to share.
No, that's good. No, I just wanted to chat and see what came.
Yeah. It's really nice how, I really appreciate this, structure of satsangs that I first saw in Thiru, and I have adapted that as well. It's like a dialogue. My teacher Ajan does it differently. He's just he gives a teaching, and it's relevant to almost everyone in different levels, even though nobody asks a question of something. But I've kind of adapted things from here, things from there, in a way that this kind of dialogue brings up so many powerful things.
Yeah, some people say, "Oh, what's my question?" But I know when I was new on the path, many questions. Now it's just like feedback and just saying, and just talking.
Yeah.
So, well, how do you feel about that? What this kind of thing. So
yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Just normal, yeah, to me anyway. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
Nick.
Nick. Thank you so much, Nick.
Yeah, that's my mother gave it to me as my spiritual name.
Perfect. Namaste. Yeah, that's she. You can just leave it here. Oh, yeah. She's going to read something. Looks like.
Okay. There's a question from Kamiko.
Mm.
Thank you for offering this opportunity to feel the energy of Arunachala and Ramana Maharshi. It feels very present in the room. Would you have any recommendations on releasing anxiety to go deeper into the light? Thank you, Ra. Kamiko.
So great to have your presence, Kamiko. Releasing anxiety. I'm going to talk about a technique. It might seem simple, it might seem easy, but I know some of these patterns that come up have a longer have been there for longer, and it sometimes takes a while to go through them and release them. You release them, they come back. They release them, they come back. But essentially, anxiety comes imported from the future. Anxiety is not natural to you here in the present moment. Anxiety is a product of our ideas that we project onto what we call the future. And they are based on our experiences from our memory, what we call the past. So the ego, the false self, which wants to protect itself, it's perfect how it works. It wants to lovingly keep you safe, wants to lovingly take care of you from all sorts of dangers, whether they exist or not. All sorts of what might happen, what might not happen. What if I lose my job? What if, some accident happens? What if a disease? Your ego wants to protect you. And it takes all these possibilities and makes them stories that we see in our awareness. And whenever we see something in our awareness, when the ego says, oh, this is a problem that might happen in the future, you have to figure out the solution to it right now, even if that might never happen. Even though we are seeing it in our awareness, our body has this way of confusing illusions for reality. So if you imagine a snake, even though you're stepping on a rope in the dark, your heart will jump just as if you have seen a snake. Even though it's just in your imagination, your body reacts and you will feel that tension, that energy which wants to do the flight or fight thing in your nervous system to protect itself. So the more this happens again and again, it becomes a pattern. It becomes imbibed in your nervous system that you see something, you hear some loud noise, and it triggers stress, it triggers anxiety. Because that loud noise is associated with some sort of danger that you had in the past. And then, even though it all came from love, it came from this loving, oh, I want to protect myself. I just want to be safe. It slowly turns twisted, perverted into anxiety, into stress, into suffering. See how love becomes suffering in the hands of the ego. So understanding this, understanding that it all came from love in the beginning, understanding that it's only perverted now into that anxiety, you can slowly start undoing it. When you feel anxious, take another deep breath. Train yourself. In a way, you're untraining yourself, really. But train your body to respond to anxiety with a deep breath. And with each deep breath, as we have been practicing, let go. With another deep breath, notice what you're holding on to. If it's a fear, talk to yourself if it helps in the beginning. Say, there is no real danger. Sometimes when it's something really strong, you have to guide yourself in the third person. You have to talk to yourself aloud sometimes and say, that danger is not really there. I am safe. And this is just another method that we will use in the beginning, and then we will drop. And then you tell yourself, it's safe, it's okay. There's nothing really to be worried about. And let go, let go. Don't believe that thought. Don't let that thought take power. If you see that it is an illusion, it cannot affect you anymore. When you see it is only a story in your mind, and you can let it go. You can disengage from it when you choose to. You have the choice, you have the power to believe it or to not. So let that thought go. Let it not take your power away. And every time something happens like that, every time come back to the present moment, because the present moment is your place of refuge, is that safe space in which nothing really can hurt you, even if your body can get hurt, even if something harmful can happen to your physical being. In the present moment, you, the true you, is always safe. So come to that safe space. And in that safe space, there is no anxiety. There is no trouble at all. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to run from. And use your anxiety as a gift that life has given you. Because every time you use that impetus to come back to the present moment, not only are you getting free of anxiety, you are receiving so much more. So much more. This anxiety is coming there only to help you go deeper. See it as that. Be grateful for it even. Thank you. Because life doesn't do things without a deeper meaning for it. If it is happening to you, receive it. Be open to it. Welcome it. Let it touch you deeply and help you transform. Use it in the right way. And this is the right way. Would you like to speak, Kamiko? Or do you have any follow-ups to that? Does it make sense or?
Kamiko says, "Hi Ra, thank you, it does make sense."
Oh.
Hi Rod, this is Kamiko. My mic was muted. And hi Ching, thank you so much for answering that question. It was really beautiful and very profound. And it makes a lot of sense. I think as you were speaking, it was easier for me just to see how I project, exactly how my mind takes that projection and stores it as a feeling. And as you were walking me through the exercise, kind of just coming back again and again, it was easier for me to process that and let go and go deeper into stillness. So thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Great. Thank you for this question. It brought up something powerful. Do we have any other questions? If you would like to speak directly, just raise your hand digitally as well. Any other comments that you did not read earlier? Everything life gives us is a gift. Everything has Buddha nature. Everything has enlightenment in it. If we just see it on the surface, if we only look at it from the ego mind's eye and label it, call it a name, conceptualize it, then there are good things and bad things. We want the good things, we avoid the bad things. There is duality. But when we see that there is enlightenment in everything, we can go beyond duality. We can go to a place where there is only beauty, there is only enlightenment, and nothing really can disturb you. Nothing can really affect you. Yes, we have another question. Mahyar. We are trying to unmute you. Sometimes it needs to be done twice or so. Okay, there you are.
Yeah. Whew. I suppose I could have just sat with this, but I thought, why, when I can talk to you about it? When you were talking earlier, and I was thinking about when I've heard other people say it, being thrown out of the kingdom of God is what it felt like, after years of, a decade of being in, for nothing I did, just walking into satsang, just walking into the right place because my friend invited me, and just experiencing the beauty of it, and just sitting there and not doing a lot else, no meditating, no nothing, just like just feeling really lucky, like, wow, how did this happen? How did this happen from nothing, like no spiritual kind of anything before that? And then when it changed, and it shifted so dramatically, I kept these last 9 years, like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And of course I did something very wrong, but hearing what you said earlier almost makes me think it would have happened either way. It may have, because I wasn't doing, I don't know, I wasn't working for it like I am now, and not experiencing even the same or anything like that. And just hearing that was so, I don't think I've heard you or anyone describe this, even though I've heard a lot of people have this question in different ways, or some people, right? Haven't heard it a ton. I don't know why I haven't. It was just so helpful to hear that this is almost the way you made it sound, like this is not uncommon. And it was ego. It was everything going so great in my life for 10 years. And then the first bad thing that happened, I got really mad. God, if that's not ego. And but more recently, through this like actual brain retraining program that I'm doing through for health stuff, it's kind of has us visualize these really like memories that felt so good, and that's where I like have been thinking about Arunachala and walking on Arunachala. Just the few weeks that I was there, like 20 years ago or whatever, 19 years ago, and feeling more in my heart.
So your question, if you could kind of condense it into a question to summarize it, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I wrote down that you said was, hold on, let me look at it. It was about surrender. Inquiring within and or surrendering, that Ramana said. But you cannot surrender as an action, you just realize it. And the control is an illusion. So then is it really just inquiry? I'm just doing what I'm doing, and maybe I'll be more in my heart. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the question is.
In a way, they are the same.
Really, what's that?
In a way, they are the same. Because when you inquire within yourself, you find out the truth that there is nobody controlling anything. There is no doer. There is no imagined self, actually. Or when you surrender it, you'll go down the path of trying to undo the doer by action. I would close my eyes and again, like in my mind's eye, surrender myself to Ramana or to Arunachala and say, all this is not mine, this is yours. You take care of it. This trouble that I'm facing, it's not mine. This problem or this decision I have to make, I surrender it. I used to do it for every single thing. That's still an action in my mind. I'm trying to wrangle with it some way. Conceptually. But still, it works, because when you have all these misconceptions that you are the doer and all the troubles are yours, your responsibility, in a way, it kind of helps you see the other side of it, the truth, that none of this is yours. At the same time, you may have to do things to solve that trouble. I'm not saying don't do anything about your rent or whatever. When the rent is due, you have to pay your rent. But at the same time, you understand that you are playing that role. I speak about this sometimes, that you have to play your roles. You have to do what is necessary as an action to be practical, to function in the world, to be impeccable even. But at the same time, don't confuse that with who you are. Your roles, Mahyar, is the role you're playing. It's not who you are. And when you understand the approaches, how they meet at the same place, that's why Ramana said, either you do this, you do that, you can find out the truth. That means they are really the same, seen from different perspectives.
I see. That's really helpful to hear more about that surrender. And I know you said like that it is part of yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that question. Yeah, the tiny little book that you can get at the ashram. I don't know. I don't have it right here with me, but I always used to keep some to give to people, because just that one little book called Who Am I? It's a few pages.
I think I have that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where the quote is from too. And I read that, and it is enough for your whole journey, in a way. It's a complete teaching. There's nothing missing. And going deep into that self-inquiry, finding out who you are, it reveals the truth, because you're looking in the right place. We look for the truth externally, in concepts, in ideas, in methods, in techniques. We will find glimpses of truth, reflections, as if a mirror is reflecting your body, but it's not your real body in the mirror. It's just a piece of glass. So you will find glimpses of truth everywhere you see, because everything has that Buddha nature, but the Buddha nature is derived from the true self. Go to the source of it all. Go to the root. And then all your problems somehow don't matter anymore. Even if they do, they matter at a practical level, and you will do what is necessary at a practical level to solve them. But nothing really touches you anymore. Nothing really bothers you anymore. Because the one who was bothered has disappeared. Never existed at all, really. Existed only as a figment of imagination. Thank you, Mahyar.
Thank you, Ra.
Are we able to come is this going to be happening the rest of the week also online?
Yes, every day, the same time.
Okay.
9 a.m. India time, which is 8:30 p.m. in California. And what's it in New York? 11:30 p.m. in New York. It's a little late. Every day for a whole week, until Saturday. I don't know, it's 6 days. I figured I'm here at the Arunachala, why not do it every day? I did not plan to do it in person, but it's like, why not do it in person since I'm doing it anyway? Why not invite people too? So, thank you. Okay. What time is it? Oh, okay. We have gone over our... I did say that this will be a different format, so it's okay. We will go over our regular format. We used to do 1.5 hours in our weekly classes, but for this duration, it's going to be flexible depending on what is needed. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything to ask before we conclude? Anything to share? Anything to chat about? Okay, in that case, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your presence. Namaste. You can stop the live and the recording as well.